I started up my Displate account about 3 years ago and I started selling. I remember I made my first sale and I was pretty excited. Well, fast forward to today, 3 years later, and I've surpassed 10,000 sales on Displate. There's the number right there. Displate sold 10,000. That's a little shy of about $30,000. I'm about 29,000 US dollars. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 tips. So if you're thinking of starting your Displate store, this video is for you. And if you've started your Displate store and you're looking for some motivation, some guidance, some options to maybe supercharge that store to the next level, then this video is for you as well. I love Displate. If you've never heard of Displate before, you might be wondering, what is this site anyway? It's very similar to Redbubble or TeePublic in that you can upload designs. I'm just going to click on the top of the website here. It says find your Displates, and I'm just going to pick a collection here. I'll pick gaming, for example. And this will just show some, high-end gaming posters. And, Displate is a metal sign, and you can buy these metal signs on this website. And what happens is, people like you and like me upload these designs. I've actually purchased some Displates for my home. You can see here I've got some Marvel and DC ones. Now these are all licensed and official. So Marvel and DC are licensed sellers on Displate, and I think the quality on them is really high. The ones here in my house are large size, and they're pretty big. You can get a medium is the smallest, and then large, and then extra large is the size of 4 mediums that create one large Displate. So they basically chop it into quarters. So you can see here I've got Superman, Green Lantern, and when you get up close to them, I find that the laser, printing on them is really high end. I haven't had any chipping. I haven't had any cracks. The magnets themselves have not fallen off. They just sit on the wall and I can easily change them out if I need to. If you're interested in learning more about what a Displate is, there's actually right on the front page, there's a What's a Displate section. And when you click on it, there's a nice little video where it shows you exactly how it works. And then basically the front of it is a picture. And then the back of it is, it's got a little Displate, sort of I don't want to say it's a certificate of authenticity, but it basically is Displate signing off on the quality of it. Shows up in a really nice box. And then the idea here is you use magnets and you stick them, you have like a piece of paper that you stick onto the wall, and then the magnet sticks on with high quality glue. I've never had a problem with the Displates falling off, although I have heard people occasionally complain online about it, but Displate's always been quick to replace the magnets. If you're interested in opening a Displate shop, what you need to do is scroll right down to the bottom of the page, and then right down at the bottom, it says Open Displate Shop. Earn with Displate, Open Displate Shop. So I'm going to click on that. So to open on Displate, you'll need to either email the team here at join@displate.com, or you'll need to submit your portfolio to the Displate team. Either way, though, you're going to need to submit your portfolio. So what you'll need to do is really have either a Redbubble shop or a Merch by Amazon shop or some sort of a collection that you can share. It doesn't necessarily need to be something that you're selling, but if you're an artist and you have an online portfolio, it might be an Instagram account, it could be a Pinterest page, but these would be your original creations that you would want to submit. So look, you're watching this video because you want to learn how to sell on Displate and make some money. So I'm going to give you these 5 tips, but I want to be honest with you. You may hear some things that you don't want to hear. One of the popular things on Redbubble is that you can upload from anywhere in the world. You can use a phone. on Displate, you need to have some sort of mechanism to make a design that is 2,900 pixels wide by 4,060 pixels tall and have it at least be 300 pixels per inch, which is pretty high resolution. I've actually got mine set as a default to 400, but it doesn't need to be. I just go a little bit higher than it has to be. These create really large images. It sucks a lot of power out of your computer. You can't, generally speaking, just use a phone and upload onto Displate. So my first piece of advice is to get some sort of combination of a high-end computer, like a $500 plus computer. It doesn't need to be a $4,000 computer, but some sort of high-end computer capable of creating these Displates. And also, you want to have some sort of technical skill where you can use Photoshop, Illustrator, Inkscape, Photopea, some sort of graphic software. Uploading simple text designs or uploading simple public domain images probably isn't going to work because it won't pass through the algorithm inside of Displate. There's a really finicky computer that looks through these and says, okay, is it high enough quality to be a Displate? So as long as you have some sort of computer, could be a laptop, a desktop. I actually don't have a very new laptop and I use a really old version of Photoshop. So I'm not saying you have to have, Lucasfilm Studios here in order to make these Displates, but you need to have something. Now this is a free piece of software called Inkscape, and I'm a big fan of this. It's completely free. You can download it onto your computer, and it basically acts similarly to Adobe Illustrator in that it's a vector software. So look, I want to give you a quick example of how you can create this Displate using free software. So I'm going to type into Google here, raw pixel. I'm going to go to one of my favorite websites, raw pixel, and I'm going to type in vintage, and then out of vintage, I'm going to click public domain. So now I'm looking through public domain images. I'm going to click on this eyeball that's sitting here. This is a completely free to use public domain image. It says right here, public domain CCO image. I'm going to download it and then I'm going to open it up in Inkscape. So now I'm in Inkscape. I've got the image open. And now what I'm going to do is trace it to a vector. So I'm just going to go path, trace bitmap. It's going to open up and I can now do a scan of this bitmap. So I can do a single scan, brightness cutoff, and I can do 45 is my threshold, and I can hit OK. There we go. Now I've created my vector file. I can now delete out my original. Now this is my vector that I can use, and you can see now there's a whole bunch of different pixels. Now I can clean this up. I can select these pixels and I can delete them out over here. I can take these pixels and I can delete them out over here. And I can essentially clean up this image. This image now becomes infinitely, the resolution on it's infinitely good because it's not pixelated anymore. It's now an actual vector. I can change the color of it in Inkscape if I wanted. I can make a black light poster. Maybe I'm just going to use that. And then you can export it. And now that becomes your high quality scan. And you want to make sure that when you export it as a PNG file, that you're exporting it really high size so that the pixels are high enough that they'll get through the Displate algorithm. And here's just an example. I'm in Photoshop and I've got different layers here that I'm playing with. So this layer is my public domain image that I grabbed. I made it into a vector and then I just put on top of it a lens flare, and I've got basically a background template that I've created that kind of makes it look like a black art design. So I'm not saying this is the only type of Displate, but there's lots of different types. You can just go through the list. There's blueprints, there's funny ones, there's gaming ones, there's abstract art. The list goes on and on. The important thing here, though, is that when I save it, I'm going to save it as a high quality JPEG, and it's going to be 2,900 pixels wide by 4,060 pixels tall. And I'm going to save that as a high quality JPEG file, at least 300 dots per inch, and then that's what I will upload into Displate. And if you don't have Photoshop, don't despair. There is a free online option called Photopea, P-E-A, kind of like photopea.com. And Photopea is like a free online Photoshop alternative. So you can just import PSD files. You can import all sorts of different files. And it's like a Photoshop's, little brother. And it's completely free. So you can give that a try as well. So tip number one is really to make a decision to invest in some quality hardware like a proper computer, be it a laptop or a desktop, and also invest in your mind, in your skill set. So I've got another channel that I run in addition to Zen Watercooler, and it's called Crafty Stacks. And there's a lot of deep dives on here specifically for artists, and not just artists on print on demand, but artists for non-commercial use as well. So I've got a bunch of different videos here, and it's always growing. There's things like, for example, how to make blueprint art, or how to pull, your cat's face onto an astronaut's body. I've got how to remove backgrounds, how to make vintage travel posters. So there's a lot of different things here. So I would just encourage you to really invest in your skill set, because Displate has some really high quality artists and there's some really high quality designs. And so if you're going to compete with them and make a sale, you'd want to make sure that you know what you're doing in terms of artistic talent. And it's not meant to scare anybody away, but more so to motivate. I know it did for me. I thought, wow, there's some really nice artwork on here. I need to step up my game and really produce some really stunning visual artwork that would look amazing on somebody's wall. Tip number two is to take some dedicated time, maybe a weekend or an evening, and really look through the different types of displates that are offered here. So for example, there is maps. So I'm going to click on that, and this will give me a listing of all the different styles of maps, and I can even sort them by color. So let's say I really wanted like a red map. I could click over here and that will sort it out and give me red maps as well. So I can look through there and I can see now there's red designs. Maybe I want to do pink, for example, and that'll give me pink hues. These are beautiful. So again, you're dealing with some really high-end art on here, and these are on metal plates. If I click on this Montreal one, for example, it'll show the actual design, and then you can click on some pictures here and it will show how it looks on the wall. There's a medium size, a large size, and then the extra large size is really cool. But that would be like a medium times 4. So you can see how that all looks. There's also different frame, or not really, well, there's frames. I don't really like frames personally. So there's a frame there. I think they look great without a frame personally, but hey, to each their own. And there's also a finish as well, a matte finish and a gloss finish. I've got a couple. I probably prefer the matte, but my point being, to each their own. They look great on a wall, and you'd really want to do a deep dive on the different types. The idea here is that you want to find your niche, but it's not the same as on Redbubble, where you can just go, well, I want to do a funny design, and it just sits great on a t-shirt or 55 other products. You really have to think, what looks good in somebody's house that they're willing to pay a relatively large sum of money to get these hanging on their wall. Tip number 3 really revolves around the number of designs and forming them into collections. So one of the things here, I'm just picking this person completely at random. This is called Nice Bleed Art. They have a beautiful portfolio. And here they have 231 space images, 59 animal images, 68 skulls, and the list goes on and on. Trippy and glitchy, pop art, black and white. You can see here they have quite a large portfolio of work. So that's probably, if we add them all up, it would be at least a few hundred anyway of displates. And, I personally have a couple thousand, displates on this site. I'm probably not as good an artist as some of these people, but I feel like I'm middle of the road anyway, and certainly enough to warrant sales. So I don't think I'm anything super special here. Here's another one that I really like. This is military posters. And when I click on this one here, this is like a blueprint design of a gun, and it's like a, designed to be like a black light poster. So I think that's pretty neat. If you're into guns or if you're into weapons, that sort of thing, this is a pretty cool looking poster. And so this person's called I Am Loudness, and they don't have a huge design, huge portfolio. They've got 10, 10, and 4. Like, that's not a lot, right? So what happens if you upload into these collections is Displate will recommend similar collections. And then there's trending ones down here as well. So the more collections you can get, and especially the bigger the collection, then the better chance you have of somebody finding your work and then favoring it. So for example, if I really liked this design, I could look at this design and then I could say, you know what? I'd really like to favorite. There's a little heart button here that I could click on if I was signed in, and I can favorite those designs. So what happens is you wind up getting a few designs favorited, and then the next thing you know, you're making some sales. You've got a nice collection. Somebody goes, well, maybe I don't want an AK-47, but maybe I really want the AUG, for example. Space posters. This is 231 designs by Nice Bleed Art, and you can see some of the detail in these posters are pretty cool. There's some really neat stuff, trippy stuff, good for the dorm, good for, good for the man cave or the rec room. They're not just uploaded public domain photos. You can see this one here, for example. This one's a picture of space, but it's obviously been added. It's got daffodils and stuff there to it. This is a nebula. Looks like a guy surfing, for example. So a lot of artists on Displate actually draw their own stuff, or they're these digital creators that are able to create some beautiful illustrations. This one's awesome. I'm just going to click on this for a second. Let's indulge ourselves here. This is Cosmic Revelation poster. You can click in and you can see the artwork. And now if you're good with Photoshop, you're not particularly impressed by this. You're not going, oh my goodness, this is complete magic that I've never seen before. But if you know how to use Photoshop, like that's a decent design, right? And that's something that would definitely sell, in my experience, on Displate. That level of artistry. You can see how it makes a skull. You can see there's like eyeballs on the right-hand side and a nose and a mouth. So the Cosmic Revelation, it's like he's a skull. It's pretty cool. So anyway, I think it's a really nice website. It's very easy to navigate, but the level of art is quite high on it. So one way you can get a lot of designs uploaded is by using variants. And that's my next tip. So tip number 4 is to use variant designs. So you can see here, this is an astronaut and it's got the Earth and it's kind of melting out of his face shield. You can tell that this is the same general background in this one here. You can see it's the same astronaut image. And as we scroll down, we can see there's another one over here. So it's a similar thing. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting that this person is not a great artist, because I mean, I love these posters. But what I'm suggesting is they've become very efficient, and they've probably got a stock portfolio that they pull from. And I know I do. I've got thousands of objects sitting on my computer, and they could be things like borders, arrows, shapes, and little things that you can add in. And I've got a whole library where I can pull from if I need to. So this is just an example of where you can create variants of these designs and create completely different looking artwork with some minimal amount of work if you're good in Photoshop or Photopea, or could be Illustrator. There's a lot of really nice graphic design software out there. Tip number 5 is to get on Facebook and join Displate, like follow them on a Facebook. So I just typed in Displate and you can basically like it and follow along. And what I like about this is they will upload limited editions. You'll get to hear people reacting to Displate. So there's a lot of fans, there's a lot of customers that join. And then you can kind of get to the pulse of what Displate is doing. And I think it's really helpful, not necessarily to promote your designs, but to find out what the customer's interested in. For example, if they upload a design and you see it and go, oh my goodness, you like here, they've got shopping here. But, if I scroll through and here it says, P of V, you arrive at the International Space Station. What's the first song? And then they've got a design uploaded. Well, if there's like 4,000 people liking and commenting on it, then chances are it's a decent design that's getting a lot of traction. Now, I'm not suggesting you rip off the design ever, but I'm just saying it could be a genre of art that you go, maybe people really do like Spaceman DJs. I wonder if I could make something in that same genre. Here's another one. What fictional land would you like to visit? And then you can see here there's 163 people that liked it and there's comments on it. That's a spectacular piece of artwork. So again, you're going to see different people doing different types of art. I do want to point out DC and Marvel are licensed as is, I believe Star Wars is on there. There's a few other ones as well. And they'll run sales sometimes. So you can get, like, there's, for example, I have that Displate, that one, that Superman one. And it was great because I bought it right from, DC's Displate shop, which was awesome. So I really enjoy searching on Facebook and following Displate on Facebook. In addition to Facebook, I strongly recommend that you go onto Pinterest and you type in the word Displate, and the shop itself will come up. So my first little piece of advice is follow the shop. Make sure it goes into your Pinterest feed. And the other thing is, you can just use this as an opportunity to scroll through all the different Displates. This is a really easy way, rather than going onto Displate itself and going through all the different collections. You can just scroll through and you can just see what's available. There's related searches. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff. All of these are displate.com. When I hover over them, you'll see that it all comes up as displate.com. So I love Displate. I'm an artist. I'm a seller. I'm a customer, and I've made 10,000 sales, and I hope to make 10,000 more. It's a really nice, fun way that I can make some money doing something that I really love. So I hope you found that video helpful. And, if you have any questions or comments, please do leave them in the description, below in the comment section. I really love hearing from you guys, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about Displate as well. Feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I've got that other channel as well called Crafty Stacks. So feel free to, check out videos on there and like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this helpful.